It's switching.
Hi, Marva. Come on in. There's just certain seats that the live stream, but I think we're okay there. How are you? Oh, oh, that's too bad. Okay. You are ready? Okay, great. We'll let Marva get some lunch. Oh, I know. It did take a long time checking out. Oh, goodness. Okay. There's a spot right here. Yeah, but let me keep it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, Maddie, thank you for your work.
Oh, thank you. Hard work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Oh, I
exciting.
loved it.
That's true. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
that's great.
collaboration I got with Darlene was excellent.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Danielle was sending me the little group. Say, okay, that's what we're going to publish. Okay, give me feedback. All right. Clarify the things. Good. Danielle Punch. Last night he was way on chicken and iron fix when the president said, I'm lost. I'm missing a sheet. He went up. Here's the sheet.
Not the binder. Yeah.
I told him, I said, wow, wonderful. Quietly went up and quietly on the thing. Well, that's what the chicken and iron
We were
fix.
going to be discussing this because it went to
And on the president was correct.
Of course.
Are you hearing me, Tarzan? Which camera is it? Which outlet is it plugged into?
One.
You're not hearing me? It's showing a level here. Is your volume turned up? Testing, testing. You hearing? You were hearing it before when I was testing it?
Yeah.
You're not hearing me now?
workplace liaison council, and the workplace, workplace liaison,
Executive network officers of the community.
So when I circulate workplace liaison updates and
Yeah.
it goes to all of those people, but when we have a council meeting, it's just going to council.
Yeah.
But the minutes from this luncheon would be circulated to all three of those groups that you mentioned. Yeah.
And so the president of the chapter is not included on the minutes?
It would be the workplace liaison ENO.
That could forward it.
But it's on the website, isn't it?
Well, you know what? When the first manual came out, when the first guidelines came out, I had access to everything. And then it was updated in December, and we had a new workplace liaison come to our executive
So I think
about a month ago.
I think what we may do is, it's really important discussion, and I think if we could put that into some of the challenges and finding solutions so that the right people are getting the right information. Can you hold that thought until then?
Sure.
Because I want everyone to hear that feedback.
Yeah.
So it will advise us as coaches.
Absolutely. And I've just taken little notes now, but I'll do that again.
Good afternoon.
We're close enough in here that you could just speak your voice.
So, sure,
But
that'd
you
be
still
great.
need this, her to hold this?
Yeah, if you watching on the street.
Gotcha. So it won't do audio in here, but it'll do audio
touch it, it's working. So welcome everyone to the Workplace Liaison Luncheon. My name is Rebecca Harbridge, and I am one of the co-chairs of the Workplace Liaison Council. Being asked to move over to the center of the room here. And I'm amongst greatness in this room, and the AGM certainly brings out passion and enthusiasm in all of us, and I know while we're inspired and energized because of that, we can also be tired at the end of the AGM. So we'll ask your indulgence to remain enthused and excited as we have some discussion about the workplace liaisons and some planning for the year to come. So for the first time ever, we are live streaming this session so that those who attend will be able to get the same information that you're getting here and attend in a virtual sense. So that actually was brought forward as a suggestion by one of the co-chairs of the Workplace Liaison Council, which is Olga Muir, who unfortunately was not able to be here today. But she brought that forward as a suggestion, and Home Office made that happen. So thank you to Home Office for your ongoing and continued support. And it really just speaks to the fact that all suggestions and feedback is valued and valid, and it can be quite easy to act on some of those things and make them happen if it meets the needs of our members. So welcome, and thank you to RNAO for providing a healthy and tasty lunch for us today. So we're running a little bit behind in our agenda, but as some of you may have heard, Doris was going to bring opening remarks. She has attended this Workplace Liaison Council lunch for as long as I can remember, and as long as I've been a workplace liaison. So she did pop in to provide some remarks to us, but unfortunately had a competing priority at the same time, so had to attend another meeting. So again, by extension, we not only have the support from Home Office, but also from Doris, who is very engaged in these kinds of discussions that we have each year after the AGM. So we thank her for that. And maybe she can catch the live streaming or taped version as well. And I'm sure she probably will. So we're going to start our session today by having a round table, which if we could keep fairly brief, to your name, where you are from, and who you represent as a work liaison, and maybe for how long you have been in that role. That would be very helpful. Familiar faces and some that aren't familiar, so it will be very that we know who is here today and how we can support you, and in so doing, knowing who you are and where you are from would be very helpful. So if I could start here, that would be great. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Edwards. I teach college in Belleville, Ontario. I teach in the Brock Loyalist Collaborative Nursing Degree Program. And I inherited the workplace liaison position by default. We had someone who did the position admirably for a long time. She retired. Because I had also assumed it chapter president, I just took it over for Loyalist and have been doing it there ever since. We're a very tiny, tiny group. There are only maybe 11 of us or 12 of us there. And so it's kind of easy. I can run in and out of rooms and make sure that information gets forwarded as part of sort of the dual role.
I'm Angela Cooper Brathwaite, and I am from Durham, which is Region 8. Our workplace liaison person just resigned a position due to being in school and workload. I'm just here as an observer because I'm traveling with Marian Cochran. But we need to really try and advocate for that person to be replaced.
Hi, I'm Marianne Cochran, and I work at Durham College, University of Ontario Institute of Technology, so DCUOIT, I try and say, and the collaborative program. And I've been there since 2001, and because I've been involved in RNAO forever, I think, it just seems natural that I just continue to do workplace liaison. So I get all the information, so I just send it on to my colleagues at work anyways.
Hello, I'm Cecile Deby. I'm from Ottawa. I work at Bria Continuing Care as a nursing student placement and nursing policy coordinator. I was previously RNAO Region 10. In those days, it was a Region 10 without chapter now. I think it's still, but I was a leader for the region, but now it's called president, so we just changed our title. So a past president, and I got involved with the workplace liaison. It's been over 3-4 years now. I'm still on, and I represent my organization, Bria Continuing Care, as a workplace liaison. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Daniel Lau. I'm the Director of Membership for the RNAO. I work with Patty Hogg, who coordinates the Workplace Liaison Program from Home.
Hi, I'm Lise Thomas, and I'm from the Sudbury District Chapter. We had somebody who was doing the workplace liaison at my workplace, which is Health Sciences North, and did an excellent job. But similar to your story, I became president of the chapter, and seeing as I was getting all of the information, I was sharing it at my workplace, so decided to be a workplace liaison as well.
Hi, my name is Vijay Chopra. I'm from Ottawa, and now I'm working in the turn. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm working in the community through an agency, and also have trying to have my own business with this. So in the community, you know, those who the other nurses, you know, I always, you know, try to convince that what you know, RNA is doing and what we should be participating, you know, in the BPG and the other things. So that affects a little bit, you know, to get the membership.
Hi, I'm Marie, and I'm a new grad and an ICU nurse. I was the Region 7 rep with Angela and everybody and Claudette, and I was a student representative, and I sort of fell into the workplace liaison by default as well, so I'm very new to the position, and I'm extremely curious about what I can do and how I can get involved with this group and this position, so I'm looking forward to the meeting. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marva McCalla. I'm the Workplace Liaison for St. John's Rehab, and I'm also the co-chair of the Workplace Liaison Committee. And I've been with this from the get-go. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Angela Guzman. I work at Toronto Public Health, and I became a workplace liaison informally, and I think because I have been involved in RNAO, I just got a whole questions thrown at me, but one day I discovered that my name was listed as a workplace liaison, so now I am one.
Thank you very much. My name is Paul-André Gauthier. I'm the president of the Clinical Nurse Specialist Association of Ontario. And I retired from teaching, but I'm still quite involved in the communities. And I get invited to different chapters now of Northern Ontario to do specific presentation about nursing, RNAO, and so on. And I take the opportunity to recruit and bring forums because there's always new people. And I just heard today that I may be invited to North Bay because they're starting the new chapter, not the new chapter, but they're starting up the chapter again because we had some challenge. So I'm always interested in good ideas because when we share, we help each other in doing better what we're doing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gigi Vandenhoof. I am the president of RNAO Region 10, which is in Ottawa. We have a workplace liaison executive who just joined but was unable to be here. Her name is Jessica Romeo. She's a nurse practitioner, and I am the workplace liaison at the Riverside Hospital.
Hi there, my name is Patty Hogg, and I coordinate the Workplace Liaison program from home office.
Hello, my name is Mara Hawes, and I'm RNAO's Legal Assistance Program Administrator, and I'll be speaking to you later about legal protections through RNAO.
Thank you. So if I hear common themes around the room, it's that there are some of us who've been involved for a very long time, probably so long we can't even count how long it's been, and some have maybe come into the position by default but saw great importance of being a strong ambassador for RNAO and have assumed that role because of that. So whatever your rationale for being here, we're glad that you're here and we are very appreciative of the work that you're doing. So it's my pleasure now on the agenda to turn our attention to Mara, who is going to provide a presentation on CNPS professional liability protection and RNAO legal assistance program.
Thank you very much. So as mentioned, my name is Mara Hawes, and I'm RNAO's Legal Assistance Program Administrator, and today I'd like to speak to you about legal protections through RNAO membership. So specifically professional liability protection and the legal assistance program that I administer. So professional liability protection, what is it exactly? Professional liability protection, which I'll refer to easily as PLP, helps protect nurses from bearing the full cost of defending against a negligence claim made by an individual and damages awarded in a lawsuit. The coverage focuses on the alleged failure to perform on the part of, financial loss caused by, and error or omission in the service of the nurse. Professional liability protection provides financial compensation to members who have been harmed as a result of malpractice or negligence by a professional. So why would you need professional liability protection? Well, the main reason is because it's now the law. It's required by the College of Nurses that you have professional liability protection, and this requirement took place, as you all know, on March 31st, 2014. So as of that date, the college will now request proof of liability protection at any time, and only nurses in the non-practicing class are not required to have this protection. And it's also very important that you have this protection, as non-compliance with this requirement is considered an act of professional misconduct under the Regulated Health Professions Act. So now that you know that it's the law and that you have to have professional liability protection, how can one obtain this coverage? So the CNO bylaw states 3 different options through which you can satisfy the PLP requirement. The first is through a provincial or national nursing association. The second is by purchasing your own policy through an insurance provider. And the third is fulfilling the requirement through your employer's policy of insurance. So let's just go through those 3 different ways to satisfy the requirement. So the first is through membership in a provincial or national nursing association. So all RNAO members, just by virtue of membership in the organization, are eligible for assistance from the Canadian Nurses Protective Society. And this is an automatic benefit at no additional cost, and the assistance available to RNAO members through the CNPS satisfies the CNO's PLP requirement. So as long as you're a member, you've satisfied the professional liability protection requirement. The protection that's offered through the CNPS is not limited to any nursing practice setting, and the protection extends to all claims arising from a nursing service provided in any practice setting anywhere in Canada. So this would cover your paid employment, a volunteer role, a part-time job, or even just helping in an emergency situation. All of those areas would be covered. As long as it's nursing practice that's recognized by the College of Nurses, you would be covered for that protection. And again, that's just by virtue of being a member of the RNAO. No additional protection is required. Not only that, but the protection that is afforded to RNAO members through the Canadian Nurses Protective Society not only satisfies the PLP requirement, but the amounts awarded actually exceed what is required by the CNO. So just to set that out here, so the college requires RNs to have a minimum of $1 million in coverage per claim with an annual limit of no less than $2 million. CNPS protection for RNAO members covers RNs for up to $10 million per claim with an annual limit of $10 million. For RNs in the extended class, the coverage you are required to have is $5 million per claim with an annual limit of no less than $5 million. And the PLP coverage through RNAO membership provides you with the same as for RN. So that's $10 million per claim with an annual limit of $10 million. The CNO bylaw also states that a deductible in any policy should not exceed $1,000, and with RNAO's coverage through CNPS, there is no deductible whatsoever. So it's important to just recognize that the CNO bylaw sets out the minimum professional liability amounts required under the provision. But there have been cases where damages have been awarded to claim in excess of those minimum amounts required by the CNO bylaw. So CNPS protection for RNAO members has been adjusted over time on account of those decisions to provide our members with enhanced protection. In addition, whereas employer or union professional liability protection may not apply to all types of allegations, such as breach of confidentiality, libel, defamation, members are eligible for coverage in these circumstances, as well as a range of other legal services from the CNPS, including assistance with criminal prosecutions. And members can call the Canadian Nurses Protective Society for confidential information about professional obligations and professional liability issues of concern. So there's a host of other services included there with your professional liability protection. So the second way to satisfy the bylaw requirement is to purchase your own professional liability protection from an insurance provider. However, if you look at how much that costs, premiums for a non-group policy can range from $1,500 to $5,000 or more, depending on the complexity of one's nursing practice, whereas RNAO membership, depending on which group you're in, is approximately $256 a year. And as mentioned, you not only benefit from that PLP coverage, but you're also entitled to assistance in a range of other scenarios with the Canadian Nurses Protective Society. And so the third and final way that you can satisfy the bylaw requirement is through a policy of insurance that your employer has. But it's important to know that the employer's insurance may not necessarily provide individual protection for its employees, and even when it does, the employer or union's insurance does not typically provide coverage for incidents that happen outside the workplace. So, for example, a lawsuit that occurs as a result of something that happened in a volunteer position or a part-time job or even in an emergency situation. And while the Good Samaritan Act would potentially apply to some of these circumstances, it does not prevent nurses from being sued. So it's certainly a defense you can raise in the context of a legal proceeding, but you can still be sued and you will still have to defend yourself in court and raise, the defense of the Good Samaritan Act. So it's just important to remember that the CNO bylaw requirement requires that nurses maintain professional liability protection for all nursing practice. So you cannot engage in nursing practice without having this protection in place. So you need to ensure, if you're relying on, for example, your employer's policy, you need to ensure that you have coverage for all your practice and that you've addressed any gaps that may exist. So the second legal protection program through RNAO is the Legal Assistance Program. And probably one of the most common questions I get is, what is the difference between PLP and LAP? Is LAP relevant to the professional liability protection bylaw? Do I need LAP in order to satisfy that professional liability protection bylaw? And the answer to that is no. LAP is not required by the CNO or at all relevant to the professional liability protection bylaw. Participation in LAP is voluntary for an additional $64.57 per year in addition to your RNAO membership, and currently more than 22,000 RNAO members participate in the program. And what LAP does is LAP supplements your professional liability protection by providing financial support for access to legal counsel to address issues that aren't captured by professional liability protection. LAP protection also applies to all nursing practice settings, but this coverage is restricted to incidents which occur in the province of Ontario. So that's one of the differences between CNPS and LAP, is that CNPS would cover you in relation to lawsuits concerning incidents across Canada, whereas LAP is restricted to Ontario. So how the program works is LAP may cover all or part of legal expenses incurred by a participant who has requested and received approval for funding assistance. Requests for assistance must be made prior to engaging or retaining legal counsel, and the decisions regarding the assistance for our members are made by a LAP committee based on the established criteria in the LAP policies. The maximum funding per case is $10,000 plus HSD. However, in exceptional circumstances, the committee will consider requests for assistance which exceed that amount. And of course, they're dealt with confidentially, so not even the committee would ever know your name or a member's name or any information which could identify them. All that information is kept strictly confidential, so only myself and the lawyer or lawyers involved would ever know that you've accessed the program for assistance. So in order to be eligible for LAP, The program policies must provide for assistance in your circumstances. The incident in relation to which you are seeking assistance must have occurred in the province of Ontario. You must be a current RNAO member and must have been an RNAO member at the time of the incident. And you must have been enrolled in LAP at the time of the incident and have remained a participant continuously and without interruption from that time up until your case is resolved. So if, for example, you contact me about a complaint that was recently registered against you with the college in relation to something that allegedly happened a year ago, you would have had to have been a member of LAP a year ago and have remained a member continuously from that point up until your case is resolved. Finally, the assistance requested must not be covered by a union or other provider or plan. So the circumstances in which LAP may provide assistance, what legal problems are covered? So again, the problems that are covered are those which do not fall under professional liability protection. So one of the most common reasons people access the program is for employment-related legal concerns, such as termination, discipline, and advice concerning other legal issues that may arise in the course of the workplace, such as violence and harassment, bullying, that type of thing. And the second most common reason people access the program is for complaints to the College of Nurses. So it's very important to know, a lot of people aren't aware of this, is that there is no statute of limitations on college complaints. So what that means is that a complaint can be made any number of years after an alleged incident has taken place. So that's sometimes surprising to a lot of people. Unlike civil law, where there's typically a 2-year statute of limitations, unfortunately with college complaints there is no such limitation. So we've seen a number of cases where a complaint has been lodged many, many years after an alleged incident has taken place. So complaints, as you know, can be made by anyone, an employer, a colleague, a member of the public, and that the outcome can have detrimental and long-lasting implications, and that the college is there to protect the public, not to protect nurses. So it's important to consider who's representing your interests. There's a number of other circumstances in which LAP may provide assistance, including contract and legal document review prior to accepting or in the course of a non-unionized administrative or managerial nursing position, advice prior to appearing as a witness before a court or tribunal in relation to incidents which occurred in the course of nursing practice, as well as human rights matters, workplace safety and insurance board claims and appeals, and the LAP committee may in its discretion also consider other legal matters related to the professional practice of nursing. So a lot of members ask if there is any difference between the coverage for unionized nurses. And there are slight differences. So I just wanted to speak to you about that because I know a lot of our members are members of ONA as well as other non-nursing unions. So as I mentioned under the policies, requests for assistance from LAP are only considered where assistance is not covered by a union or other provider or plan. And this is because the terms and conditions of employment of unionized nurses are mandated by a collective agreement. And as the exclusive bargaining agent, only the union may file grievances under its collective agreement with the employer. The enforcement of individual statutory rights found in employment-related legislation are also the responsibility of unions, at least in the province of Ontario. So essentially everything except workplace injuries, so things like hiring and firing, discipline, compensation. So those things which arise out of the collective agreement and employment may only be dealt with through the union, through the grievance and labor arbitration process. This is not because we don't want to help in these circumstances, it's because we're not permitted to help. Only the union has the exclusive jurisdiction to deal with these specific matters. And unless expressly provided for in its constitution, the union is not obligated to file a grievance every time an employee so requests, nor is it obligated to take every grievance to arbitration. The union has the discretion whether or not to file a grievance, whether to proceed to arbitration, and it has the authority to settle grievances as it sees fit. So a lot of people are under the impression that if they're not getting the assistance they require from a union, or if they don't like the outcome of a union proceeding, that they can then take their employer to court, and that is not the case. So that leads to the question then, if certain things are strictly under the jurisdiction of the union, how can LAP help unionized members? So there's a number of circumstances. Complaints to the College of Nurses, those are typically, with the exception of ONA, which is covered under their collective agreement, non-nursing unions typically don't provide their members with assistance in dealing with professional regulation matters. A LAP can also assist with employment contract review prior to accepting a non-unionized position. So often unionized nurses going into management positions, we would assist you in looking over that contract prior to accepting any employment offer, as well as advice prior to appearing as a witness before a court or tribunal. So often the employer might offer legal counsel, but sometimes members feel it's important to have independent legal advice, and so we would provide that through LAP, as well as WSIB claims and appeals and human rights matters. There was a case recently where a member was represented by a union and was seeking to appeal a WSIB decision as a result of something that happened in the workplace. The union was of the opinion that the member didn't have a very strong case, so we had our lawyers look at it and we decided that there was a good chance of success on appeal, so we took the case for the member even though they were represented by a union, as well as human rights matters. So how can you obtain advice through LAP? So if you think you do need legal advice, the first thing you should do is contact myself. So we also offer an employment relations program through LAP. So a lot of matters that don't necessarily present a legal issue that would be appropriate for referral to a lawyer. We have employment relations advisors that can address any issues such as interpersonal issues or more just dealing with difficult situations in the workplace. So we have that employment relations program for that purpose. And so I thought the best way to illustrate all these concepts, so this can be very dense information, can be a bit confusing, so I thought I would just present you with some case scenarios. So again, just to go over the eligibility is that, so assistance from the CNPS and LAP is of course subject to program policies, bylaws, and eligibility requirements. Nurses must have been members of the RNAO at the time of the incident, giving rise to the need for legal assistance. And in the case of LAP, a member must have been enrolled in LAP at the time of the incident and have remained a participant continuously and without interruption from that time up until their case is resolved. So with PLP, as long as you were a member at the time of the incident, you'd be covered. With LAP, you need to be also currently a member and have that continuous uninterrupted coverage as well. So the first case scenario, and these are all actual cases that we've seen in LAP, the daughter of a 70-year-old former client who passed away felt that if you had been more attentive, her mother would still be alive. The daughter has filed a complaint against you with the CNO. Although you work in a unionized environment, the collective agreement does not provide for assistance with college matters. You need legal representation to protect you and your CNO registration. So this is a case in which LAP would help you. You worked in a physician's office until your employer terminated you subsequent to a medication error. Shortly thereafter, the patient made a complaint to the CNO and launched a lawsuit against you alleging negligence. This case illustrates how, one incident in nursing practice can lead to 3 different legal proceedings. The termination, your termination from employment, LAP would assist in that regard, as well as with the college complaint. And the lawsuit, you would be covered through your professional liability protection. On your way home from work, you witness a car a short distance ahead of you spin out of control and land in a ditch. Unfortunately, despite your best efforts, you're not able to save the badly injured driver and he succumbs to his injuries. A year later, the late driver's wife, who was a passenger in the vehicle, initiates a lawsuit. She has also made a complaint to the CNO alleging conduct and the assistance you provided as a nurse was deficient. You do not have the support of your employer or the incident did not happen in your workplace. You need legal representation to defend you in court and to protect you and your CNO registration. So this again would be both your professional liability protection and your LAP protection coming into place. You receive notice of a lawsuit and CNO complaint made against you by a patient you treated almost 2 years ago in your former place of employment. Although you currently have the support of a union, they are unable to assist you as the incidents happened in your former unionized workplace. So that's an example of how, LAP can be very relevant for unionized members. You receive notice of a CNO complaint made against you by a patient you treated 5 years ago in your former workplace. Although you were in a unionized position at the time of the incident, the union is not able to assist you with the complaint as you are no longer a dues-paying member of the bargaining unit. You need legal representation to protect your CNO registration. Sorry? Absolutely, absolutely. You receive a job offer to assume a non-unionized managerial nursing role. You want legal advice about the conditions and the terms and conditions in the proposed employment contract. So LAP would have a lawyer look over that contract for you. A coroner's inquest has been called into the death of a patient who passed away 2 years ago while you were on shift. You've been called as a witness. Although your employer offers representation by the organization's lawyer, you are not sure if there is a conflict of interest. You feel that you need independent legal advice from a lawyer who is concerned with only your interests. So in this case, we would have a LAP lawyer give you a consultation in that regard. So finally, I hope that I've clarified any misconceptions about the two programs. I do offer legal presentations on LAP and CNPS, so if you have an interest in having that in your workplace, I know that I have done a few recently with public health in Toronto, so I'd be happy to speak to your group as well at your location. And of course, you can always email me or call me with any questions, and certainly if you feel you need legal advice, please contact me right away. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Okay, sure. Thank you. I can certainly provide that to Patty, absolutely. Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
So thank you for your awesome presentation. This workplace liaison group actually had requested that educational sessions be provided to the workplace liaisons, and it was out of that request by liaisons that these kinds of educational sessions are offered either in person when we meet, which we've done one every year, I think, at this meeting, and also by teleconference. So this really serves the needs of our members who are asking questions about PLP and LAP and the kinds of issues that you discussed. And you put it in very tangible by using those cases, so thank you for that. And I do see that you have some resources here that anyone attending here is certainly welcome to take if they feel it would meet their needs to do that. So I did skip over success sharing on our agenda, but want to go back to that because that's one of the parts of this particular meeting so that we can respond by what's working in our particular workplaces. And it's very helpful to share what you're doing so that we can sort of develop, to continue the momentum, but also to share resources and strategies, innovation, that kind of thing to promote RNAO membership. And we know that's important because we're all here and we're all ambassadors of RNAO. So the sharing portion of this meeting is the one in which rich conversation happens and great innovative ideas are shared. So we look forward to that. So what would be the best way to do that? Did people want to come to the mic or do you want me to pass it around? What would meet the needs of people? Pass it around and start here.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. We have discussed in Ottawa, in our region, that perhaps when members are renewing their membership, and I know for the continual membership, that the email addresses are updated because of our new workplace liaison executive has sent out an email but does not get responses back. So she wonders, are they getting there? Are they still in their current job? What are they doing? So if we can somehow trigger a mechanism to get the current information, that would be very helpful for us and for her.
Thank you for that important feedback. It's critical. Thank you for that. And I know Patty's taking minutes on that, so certainly taken under advisement. Did you have some success you might want to share about what's working well or something new or something maybe not so new that or think about it and we can maybe pass that around. Paul Andre always has great ideas and innovative suggestions. So can we start with you?
Yes, one other thing I do is I go to schools of nursing and it's interesting. One of the things that triggers the student or the other nurses who are not member of RNAO is they say, oh my God, you have an enthusiasm, you give us clinical examples, what we do at RNAO, and that's what interests the members. And it seems to be a low thing, but just showing a bit more dynamism and interest, it attracts. I send the street around and they become a member. I said, well, I achieved my goal.
I too have a lot to say.
Good, good.
I was talking with one of our current members, retired members of RNAO, who was sitting on our board, and she had recommended and had made a suggestion right after our open symposium panel today that as a retired nurse, she'd like to go to the hospitals when it's membership recruiting, have the banner, and be there by the cafeteria to say, hey, you know, and so when the nurses walk by, the nurses can ask questions. So I thought it was a really good idea, and we will be discussing that further at our next retreat in May.
Great idea. And could that fall under the nurse ambassador program at RNAO as well? Not only workplace liaisons, but there may be a place for that under the ambassador portfolio. So we'll leave that for the minutes as well for some additional follow-up. Anyone else like to share something exciting that's happening or that's working well in your workplace? I know in South Simcoe, I live in Region 5 and I'm the workplace liaison E&O on our local executive. We had a huge event recently where Doris and Tim and Anastasia came and spoke as part of a panel, and we had a big speakers voices session, and it attracted 225 members. And it really generated some great discussions about membership. It was open to members and non-members. So I think that when we think about the role of the workplace liaison, it doesn't just happen in the workplace. But in doing the other work that we do, we're often in contact with people who may be interested in enjoying. So that doesn't have to always happen in the workplace. It happens in a number of places. Marianne, did you have anything to share about what you're doing with your students? You always have great ideas too.
Well, I don't know whether this is working. Okay, the guys are out. Anyways, the guys are back now. Anyways, okay. So what I find that really works well is when my colleagues understand what the LAP is versus the PLP. And then I was just talking to a past graduate student who came back for a reference. And so I talked to her about, does she have her RNAO membership? And she said, no, I haven't done that. I says, okay, so then what are you doing for your PLP? And she says, well, what's that? So she didn't even really at that point, and she's been working for 4 years. So she didn't really even clue in that she really needed the PLP, what are we calling that? Protective liability protection. Professional liability protection. Okay, got it. And so here she is only in her practice for 4 years, and she's working at one of the downtown hospitals. And so I'm even concerned that I think we still have to be doing some more marketing, or maybe marketing's not the word, but we need to be promoting to our fellow colleagues who maybe are or not RNAO members. But in this case, when I was able to say to her, well, you need your professional liability protection somehow. So whether you want to do that through your RNAO, which I feel is more cost effective, or you want to go out and find your own, but you need it. Again, it'll come up as professional misconduct. So I do share that with all my students so that they're aware of this new responsibility as when they're entering the profession. And so I think there are a lot that we can do with regards to that. So I find it very helpful to know the difference between the LAP and the PLP program. And so what is outlined and the specific examples are excellent. And so I think we just need to share that more with our fellow colleagues who may have not really paid attention just yet, and it's missed. And I know I can have a tendency to maybe miss something now that the standard is coming through electronically, because I'm always was good with the paper and I could see that, but when I can't flip pages and I have to scroll through the standard now from the college, I'm afraid I'm maybe missing something. I do make more of a point of going through it because I'm also in the teaching position and I work teach ethics, but so that's one thought.
So what I hear you saying is that being very aware of what the benefits of membership, being a member of RNAO, offers to members, so that you can promote those benefits to members, and becoming a member is a means by which one can receive those benefits. So cost effective, very good, very good. Anything else to share in terms of successes? I'm seeing lots of tired faces looking back at me. Oh, please.
In terms of I'm just wearing the new grad hat again, but in terms of the new grad offer to have free membership, I think that is really suitable and fair. I'm not sure if it's permanent, but I think in terms, especially with so many new grads still struggling with looking for jobs, a lot of my I think that having that new grad membership there for free for that first year is something that we should keep if it's not permanent already.
That's important feedback. Thank you for that. And I know Home Office is really good about sending out updates to us by email, so making sure emails are up to date is critical. And I know I limit what I send out to all users in my organization just because they stop reading it. So I know if it's something of importance, then they will read it. So I try to save email blasts for that sort of thing. And in my workplace, I have a bulletin board, which I've been permitted to use for RNAO's exclusive stuff, which is really great. And the other thing I do, which I'm not so sure is popular, but I do it anyway, is I put posters and materials on the back of the bathroom stalls. So when you're sitting and thinking, you can look at the benefits of RNAO. So I have a number of people reach out saying, well, I saw your poster in the bathroom. So just those little strategies seem to work quite well. Our local chapter is now on Facebook and Twitter. And one of the things that I've made a conscious effort to do is to become Twitter savvy, and I'm doing better at that because I noticed the media people during the RNAO panel, they were giving me the thumbs up at the back of the room because they were retweeting my tweets, and I said, wow, Bonza, I finally got it. So that's thing. Why I say that is that periodically, and I've made an effort of doing it once a week because social media is so quick to be seen and quick to be forgotten. So about once a week, I send out my personalized RNAO membership form to encourage people to join RNAO. So my Twitter following is starting to increase, so the people receiving those messages is starting to increase also. So it's just another way of getting the word out there about membership and using your membership form so that you can earn reward as well. Any other sharing of success stories before we move on? Any burning desire for a last minute success story? So I'll now turn things over to Patty. Patty will provide some RNAO Home Office updates to us, and after which point we will stop the live streaming portion of the agenda today.
Great. Thank you, Becky. My presentation is very short. I just wanted to give you a few updates, but most of all, I wanted to start the presentation by thanking those of you in the room and those joining us online for all the work you do in RNAO Workplace Liaison. I don't know if you know this, but we have 204 workplace liaisons at 142 workplaces. And the recruitment and retention efforts is the lifeblood of a voluntary organization. So you're vital to that, and I just want to stop for a moment and start by saying thank you. My next slide is about workplace liaison resources. So as Becky mentioned, and getting my monthly updates. If you haven't been getting them, please do send me your email to make sure that I have the correct contact information in our database and that we keep that up to date. We also, in addition to those email blasts, have our MyRNAO, and on there's the volunteer leader section, and workplace liaisons can access materials in there for use to download quickly. So I hope that if you haven't taken a look at it yet, that you'll come away from here and do that. And if you notice anything missing that you think should be up there that would be of value to you, please don't hesitate to let me know. As well, promotional materials can be mailed. So as Nursing Week is fast approaching, if you want to send me a quick email about what you need for a workplace event, I'm happy to courier that to you. And as well, we have some monies for recruitment and retention lunch or workplace event. So if you're interested in having those monies available to you, again, just contact me. I think it's $100 right now. But that would be put towards your workplace event that you are having. The other thing we want to do is help educate. So the workplace liaisons I know we're asking for the LAP and PLP, which we've done today. If there's any other webinars that we could be hosting once or twice a year to educate people, if you have topics of interest, please don't hesitate to let me know. The Workplace Liaison Recognition Award is something that has been talked about in the past, but I wanted to give you an update that it is moving forward, that the Membership Recruitment and Retention Committee is actually meeting in the spring, summer to develop the criteria for that award. It will be part of the nominations that go out in the fall, and hopefully we'll have a winner at the next AGM being announced as part of the recognition awards. Also on your table, you'll see the Workplace Liaison Agreement, and I printed it because this is, of course, brutally small, and I don't expect you to read it. I just wanted to let everybody know that the Workplace Liaison Council worked hard in updating this, and this will be distributed to all workplace liaisons along with the permanent confidentiality agreement for signing. The next piece of information I wanted to let you know about is that we've been talking about branding the Workplace Liaison Program so that you have more visibility in your workplaces. And we wanted to get, obviously this needs to stay within the overall branding of RNAO. And I will be meeting with the Communications Department, our in-house designer, Olga, to talk about what imagery she can create for us. So if you have some ideas about what Workplace Liaison means to you, that would be great to share with me. I am meeting with her in May, so I know there's not a lot of time, but maybe while it's fresh in your mind, you could send me your thoughts by the end of this month. My last slide is just about the Workplace Liaison Council. We are going to be doing calls for nominations in June, and I just wanted to put that out there so that you can take note of it when it comes out in our In the Loop newsletter. These are the regions that will have vacancies, and so I just wanted to make sure that you were made aware of that. We have terms of reference for the Workplace Liaison Council, which outlines the role, and those are available on the side. They're also downloadable from the MyRNAO site. Oh, of course. Yeah. There isn't a representative on the Workplace Liaison Council from Region 10. So workplace liaisons are governed or are supported, I guess, by this Workplace Liaison Council. And there's representatives, supposed to be representatives from all 12 regions. So she's an E&O, and she's on your executive, but not on the Workplace Liaison Council. And we can talk more about that afterwards, and the terms of reference are aside, and we can review them together. And it would be great. She could do both roles, absolutely. Okay, great. And so thank you for coming again today. I know it's been a long, long day. But if you need anything or just want to chat about what's going on in your workplace, contact me anytime. Thank you.